Good morning all of you. Myself Priyanka Lanjavar, Faculty of CSE Data Science RCPIT Shirpur. So today we are focusing on the machine learning 3, that is reinforcement learning, and which is offered at the semester 6 for the third year students. So these are the prerequisite. So machine learning 1, machine learning 2 and artificial intelligence, and the course objective for the subject is to make students learn to build a program that act in a stochastic environment based on the past experience using various reinforcement learning methods. So these are the total 3 course outcomes are there. So very first is the analyze basic and advanced reinforcement learning techniques, identify suitable learning tasks to which reinforcement learning and deep reinforcement learning can be applied. Third one is the apply appropriate reinforcement learning methods to solve the given problems. So the course content for the first unit is the introduction to RL, elements of the RL, reinforcement learning versus supervised learning, approaches of solving reinforcement learning, that is value based, policy based and model based, exploration and exploitation dilemma, evolutionary methods and immediate RL. So we're first focusing on the evolution of the machine learning. So on 1805, the linear regression concept is evolved. Then 1957 perceptron is there and which is the inspiration of the neural network. Then 1959 reinforcement learning is evolved by the Richard Bellman, which is the algorithm where the agents perform the different actions and make the decisions and get the rewards or the penalties. Then 1964 there is a support vector machine, then backpropagation of the neural network, then bagging and boosting algorithms are there, then random forest algorithms are there, then RNN, LSTM, deep convolutional networks are there, then generative AI and transformer. So this is the evolutions of the machine learning. So we first discuss the types of the machine learning first. So very first is the supervised, then unsupervised, and last one is the reinforcement learning. So in supervised machine learning, as we know that there is a supervision is provided over there and certain labels data are over there and the different algorithms are there, is the classification and regression. So in classification there are different classifiers such as naive Bayes classifier, decision tree, support vector machine, random forest, k nearest neighbor, and under the regression there are different algorithms such as linear regression, logistic regression, lasso and ridge regression. In case of the clustering, which is unsupervised type of machine learning algorithm where it contains the k-means clustering, then DB scan, hierarchical and agglomerative clustering. So in case of the reinforcement learning, which makes the decision or which provides the decision under the different algorithms are there such as Q learning, R learning and TD learning. So supervised machine learning, which is task driven, and unsupervised machine learning as the data driven algorithms, and the reinforcement learning which learns from the mistakes or the experiences, or we learns from the experiences and making the decisions over there. So let's discuss what is RL. So reinforcement learning is the feedback based machine learning technique or the approach where the agent learns in an environment by performing different actions over there, and for the each good action the agent gets the positive feedback, and for the each bad action the agent gets the negative feedback or the penalty. So reinforcement learning agents learns automatically using feedback without any label data, or which is of the kind of supervised learning. So here we can see the environment, the agent, the action, states and the reward. So these are the elements of the reinforcement learning where the agent performs the different actions over there, and it will perform it from the different states over there, and at the last we will receive the different rewards whether it is positive or negative. So this is the example of the maze where the agent performs within the maze by performing different actions over there. So the agent continues doing these three things, so taking action, then changing the states or remain in the same state and getting the feedback at the last. So he will explore the environment and making the decisions over there. So these are the key elements used in case of the RL. So very first is the agent, which is the entity that can perceive or explore the environment and act upon it. Then next is the environment, which is the situation in which the agent is present or surrounded by. Then next is the action. Actions are the moves or taken by the agent within the environment. Next is the state. So state is the situation written by the environment after each action taken by the agent. So next is the reward. So it is the feedback returned to the agent from the environment to be evaluated different on the different actions. Next is the policy. So it is the strategy or the approach applied by the agent for the next action based on the current state. Next one is the value. So it is expected long term return with the discount factor, and which is opposite to the short term reward. So next is the Q value. It is mostly similar to the value, but it takes one additional parameter as the current action. So there are different elements which is important in RL. So very first is the policy. So policy defines the strategy or the approach the agent behaves in an environment. Next is the reward function. It defines the goal of the RL problem by providing the feedback whether it is positive or negative. Next is the value function. So value function, it will estimate the long term reward for the state. Next is the model of the environment. It will helps in predicting the future states and the reward for the planning. So very first is the policy. As we discussed, it is the approach or the strategy which is performed by the agent. So there are two type of policies over there: deterministic policy and the stochastic policies. Then is the reward signal is there. So the goal of the reinforcement learning is defined by the reward signal. At the end we get the reward whether it is positive and negative. Then another is the value function. So value function gives the information about how good the situation, and you are taking the actions over there and getting the reward as the agent can expect. So the reward indicate the immediate signal for the each good and bad action, where the value function specifies the good state and the action for the future. Last one is the model. So the last element of the reinforcement learning is the model, which mimics the behavior of the environment. So this is the difference between the reinforcement learning and the supervised machine learning. So the reinforcement learning requires the label data which will maps the input to the known outputs, and in case of the RL, which interacts within the environment to achieve the maximum rewards. So the type of data in case of the supervised is the label, and in case of the RL there is no predefined data where the agent interact within the environment only. So type of problem that solves the regression and classification is the problems to be solved in case of the supervised learning, and in case of the reinforcement learning, exploration and exploitation type of problem will be solved. So supervision, there is no supervision in case of the RL, but in case of the supervised, as the name suggests, it will require the supervision. And the algorithm in case of the supervised, that is linear regression, logistic, SVM, KNN, and in case of the RL, Q learnings are there, Q networks are there. So the aim is to calculate the outcome based on the label data, and in the case of the RL, it will learn from the series of actions and achieve the reward, or we can say the goal. So the applications, risk evaluation and forecasting cells, and in case of the reinforcement learning, self-driving car, gaming and healthcare. So thank you. So in the next lecture we will discuss the remaining part of the first unit. Thank you so much.